we're working on rental properties that we bought. No, look at it this way. Rental properties that we bought a bunch of years ago when they were cheaper. And I guess it sounds really great. And I mean, it should be great, but they have just been an expense because they've been sitting empty. When we bought them, we didn't know that it would cost as much as it does to. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about the materials and everything. And I know my husband was, but he just wasn't discussing that with me. He was assuming, we'll get it done eventually. Plus, he does a lot of the work, or all of the work he was planning on, but that has not worked out because he hasn't had time. So it's just this long thing. So anyway, then we had this guy. I found this really good guy to do the work, and he seemed like he was going to be reasonably priced. And one of the houses is a mess. So anyway, we got him over there to give a quote yesterday. And his first thought was, I mean, it needs all kinds of work: drywall, tile, cabinets, everything. And he's even good with like managing the projects as far as what needs to come first and all that. So the first thing he said was, he said to me, well, it can be overwhelming to try to do everything at once. So, just I'm really good at taking them in stages or something like that. And then he went to meet my husband and they looked at the property. They walked through and everything that needed to be done and all that other kind of stuff. And then he told my husband, what you have to do is get like into a flow of work and pick, what has to be done right now. It doesn't even have drywall on a lot of walls, or there's patching and everything that needs to be done. So he said, let me just get you a price on drywall. And, the price, he looked through the drywall and he said the price would be $3,500 to $4,000. And my husband and I both agree that this guy has really good credentials. I mean, not credentials, but experience. We think he can do it. He's got a small crew. We think he would do a good job, be reliable, and all that stuff, which is so hard to find. And it's actually a good price compared to, we paid for some drywall last year. That's a long story, but I think this price was still more than we want to pay. But here's the thing, that I felt like that was still kind of like a technique for getting us to pay more than we ultimately want to or can pay. Because, I mean, he's a super nice guy and everything. I'm not saying it was intentional. It's just, well, whether it was intentional or not, that is the effect. We need to know the price on the whole house. And we had gone into the whole thing thinking, there's no way we're spending. And I know this is crazy because for a regular house, you could never do all this stuff for what we were hoping to do. And it is a regular house, but we are real estate investors and we have multiple properties. We cannot afford, we'll need my husband to do it. And real estate investors generally, I've been reading like on Facebook and stuff in forums, looking at prices in like contractor and subcontractor forums, and looking at investors looking for work, or looking for labor, I guess you could say, skills, subcontractors and stuff like that. And they definitely pay less. And in fact, one I contacted yesterday, was offering a job, and I contacted him as if I was someone who could do the job, trying to get an idea of pricing. And they replied back to me, and they had a long list of stuff that needed to be done in different properties. And they replied back that they would pay $1,500 to $3,000 per unit, like for the whole turn, which turn means for the whole job. So I'm sure those houses could not be in as bad a shape as the one we're in, and I can't compare because it's not apples to apples. We also have a property manager friend who has a contractor friend who she gives him a lot of work because she works at an apartment complex. And she says that she's going to get him to do it like for cheap, but we just wanted to get our own quote. And we're not quite sure, like, okay, if he's going to do it cheap, what kind of work is he going to do? I mean, it's tough because it has to be worth it to us. It has to be worth what we could get in rental income. It is like for our retirement. And I mean, I understand that he's got to get paid and all that, but the technique, I mean, I don't know if it's a technique or what, but it's kind of like, look, if you 3,500 to 4,000 is what he said, which you can just say is 4,000. Okay, if it's 4,000 this, 4,000 that, 4,000, pretty soon, you're at 50 or 60, which we can't do. And it doesn't do us any good to do the drywall and then not get all the other stuff done. We'll just have a house sitting there with drywall. So kind of like our cap was 20,000 in our mind. And my husband can do some of it, but it was like, that is the absolute maximum we are comfortable spending. We actually, after looking through the forums and stuff, and also talking with his brother is a retired contractor, and we know, like, they've done house flips for a long time, so we know a little bit. And then my husband's hired people here and there for jobs, so we kind of have an idea of what's possible. But anyway, we had in our mind that 20,000 was our absolute max. And, that's looking at how long will it take us to get that back in rent. If it takes us an eternity to get the money back in rent, then it's just not worth it. I mean, it's an investment. It's like, and we couldn't afford it. We could afford it. I guess anyone watching could say, well, you could afford it because we have other properties and we could sell them, but we're not doing that. We will just hold out and my husband will keep working on them. Or we will, I mean, I'm pretty confident we can find someone else. But here's the bad thing. We like this guy. I know he would do a really good job. And I understand that costs money. So, I don't, so then once he gave us the quote on the drywall, I talked to my husband and I said, I want you to ask him to get us a quote on everything because we need to know what it's going to take to get that done. It's not going to do us any good. My husband was kind of like, this is a really good price. I think we need to do it. And it's not that I'm trying to be a jerk. It's just that we actually went through one other time we've hired someone for some whole bunch of stuff that needed to be done in our yard. His name is Marcelino. And Marcelino would come over and be like, okay, that's going to be 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. And granted, we have money in the bank from retirement, but we got a long way to go, hopefully. I'm not actually retired. My husband is semi-retired. He's working on just the rentals. But I have a small business and things change on Google. There's a whole Google story. Things changed on Google and I'm working very, very hard and spending money trying to get that to come back to life. So, I hope to make money, but I might not. And I'm damn sure I'm just not I have medical issues. And not only that, but it's not just that I have medical issues. There's just no damn way. I'm not going back to a job. My husband will do it himself or whatever. That's just the way we feel about it. But anyway, Marcelino, this, that, the other, it ended up being this huge number. And I mean, we had him over a couple times to do some, it was extensive yard work and a driveway that had to be like regraded and all this other kind of stuff. That's the only time we've ever hired anyone. So this is our house. Look, this, you can see, this is an older ranch style house. The house we live in cost $125,000. 18 years ago, 2008, whatever that is. So yeah, that's 18, right? That's 18. So, I mean, we've lived frugally. It's not, and we've worked and saved money. And when we bought the houses, we were putting everything we had into them and then living like, this house looks like crap. It looks like crap. So we're not like living it up. We just have what we have, what we've saved, what we've managed to save. We were so lucky to be able to buy those houses, but we bought them. We did the work. We bought them. And I'm not looking for sympathy. It's just, I'm just saying we have to protect what we have, and that's it. Then it has to also be worth it. We're going to take money out of our very, actually small, it's money, but it's like relatively small retirement account for, in exchange for getting this house. We have houses, getting houses fixed. There has to be a return on investment. It has to come in time for it to be worth the price of the renovations. That's just it. It's just a strictly numbers thing. And investors do get better prices. I'm very confident there's someone who will do it for $20,000. Whether we can find someone good who will do that, I don't know. And that, I don't know if this includes materials or not. We were kind of like $20,000. That includes materials. But yesterday we started like, well, maybe some materials we would buy. I don't know. I don't actually, really the goal is $20,000. That includes materials, which maybe is crazy. The other option is we hire this guy who we like for some of the jobs and up to $20,000, which is something we're considering. And then my husband does the rest. So it's not like we're just totally not considering it. But anyway, then the guy texted me this morning and said, I stayed up late working on the quote. And I'd like you guys to discuss it and let me know. And he's a really nice guy, and he's honorable and reliable and all of that stuff. It's, we want to be able to hire him. Now I feel like crap for him staying up late working on the quote, but we needed to know the number. It's kind of like if he could have given us a ballpark number. I don't know how to make it any easier for you to give us a quote, for you to give us the number. I mean, I could have maybe just told him, here's what needs to be done, because I'm the first one who contacted him. Here's what needs to be done. Give us a ballpark number, but you got to see the house. I mean, here's the square footage, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could have made it easier on him. I don't, so it just sucks that he just texted me. So I sent the text to my husband, and we'll see what happened. I mean, I don't know. I almost feel like I really hope we can hire him, but it's just got to be worth it. So we'll see. All right, I gotta go.